Hare Krishna. Start. Hare Krishna. So, thank you so much for being part of this conference, and it has always been very exciting to be with you all. And we have been talking about education and building a global system. So I just thought I just made a presentation with some perspective towards that. I mean, it is not complete, or this is in no way an authoritative one in terms of full and final. We can always refine it, and your inputs and comments are definitely welcome. I'll just try to keep within my time limits, and I have another presenter we have supposed to begin this session, but I think he's late, so I'm doing before him to let him do that later. Start with the Prabhupada quote: "Our eternal relationship with God can be revived in the human form of life, and that should be the goal of education. Indeed, that is the perfection of life and perfection of education." So all our educational initiatives are directed towards that. We have been speaking about it, so I just thought I'd give a perspective as well. And this is a very, very famous quote that I always like and refer in my presentations, where Prabhupada writes to Mother Arundhati, said, "At least you must take good care of your son until he is 4 years old. And if after that time you're unable anymore to take care of him, then I shall take care." So Prabhupada is given emphasis that he is interested in taking care of the children because they are the future of the society. So this whole education system and all these conferences and all these initiatives that we are talking about is to definitely win more souls and help these Vaikuntha children in the movement. Some facts and figures. These facts and figures are because I have a service in the GBC database committee where I gather information from all the temples, which has been going on for the past 8-9 years. So it's not accurate, but this is more or less, a figure. There are more than 250,000 children in our movement. More than 3/4 of our devotees in our movement are congregation families. It's definitely a common sense understanding. And we have in total only 3 to 4 colleges for English-speaking community, and in total 5 to 6 options that we offer from the movement, from the education fraternity for higher education. And we have in total not more than 30 primary, secondary schools in ISKCON globally for catering to the children list over there. And interestingly, not even 5% of our devotee children are studying in our own educational institution. And more than 95% of our devotees, congregation and children are working for outside organizations. This is, this will give a perspective on where do we stand today. Okay, we have a very important situation. This is a brain drain because we are having Vaikuntha children. The devotees are born, being born in the movement, and their knowledge base, their intelligence, their blessings, and what they were bestowed with, if they are not being utilized for preaching mission, so probably it's a big warning for us. It's going to be a brain drain at some point in time. So building a global system, where are we getting this directive from? What you're seeing is actually the mission statement of ISKCON's Ministry of Education. You all must have gone through the printouts that I had given there the first day. I'll just read it. To develop comprehensive educational systems globally that foster higher spiritual values, fulfill the needs of ISKCON members and larger society, and bring about excellence in all areas of human life. We aim to fulfill this mission by empowering and supporting educational initiatives and collaborations among educators, educational institutions, and professionals, establishing and monitoring high standards of Vaishnava education, supervising the development and execution of educational plans and ensuring they are delivered to high standards, and understanding and fulfilling the educational needs of the Krishna consciousness families, and finally making every temple as an educational center and a center of excellence. This is the mission statement of, so we already have a directive to set up this, and that's where we are beginning our initiative. And the basis is, actually this global education system or any system that you want to build globally is not a one man's initiative or a group's. It's no one organization or individual can represent the interest of all the educational verticals or build a global system for ISKCON education. It will take definitely all the stalwarts and all the subject matter experts to come together and contribute for this. And this is not one person or a group of people. It's collective members from various verticals of education fraternity need to come together to build this. So I think it's everybody's contribution, not one single person's. Giri Raj Maharaj was in Vrindavan. This was in Kartik 1977. He was sleeping on the rooftop of ISKCON Gurukula. Srila Prabhupada had called Giri Raj Maharaj to come over. It's almost after midnight. I think he was sleeping. So Prabhupada's secretary woke Giri Raj Maharaj and said that Prabhupada is calling you. So that time Prabhupada was very fragile, and people were worried how long Prabhupada is going to stay. People were not sure. So Giri Raj Maharaj came running to Srila Prabhupada's room, and Srila Prabhupada asked, do you think this movement will go on after me? So Giri Raj Maharaj was thinking, sure Prabhupada, if you follow, if you chant Hare Krishna and follow your instructions, it will happen. Then Srila Prabhupada said two words, organization and intelligence. So actually Giri Raj Maharaj refers this in his Watering the Seed book and other places. He has also spoken about it. So the global system, if at all you want to build, I think this organization and intelligence are two things that we need to bring in addition to all the other wonderful things that are happening in the education space. So I just thought that should be the principle on which we should build this up. Okay. I was just analyzing why is the need. I mean, for all of us, we knew for sure. Modern education system makes asses. Prabhupada says that the defect of modern education is that the children are taught all nonsense things. They do not receive even the first point of knowledge that I am pure spirit, soul, part and parcel of God. It's a very famous cartoon or picture that we always refer about the education system. This guy is saying that for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam, please climb the tree, making monkey, elephant, and all of them to put to the same test. So that's a situation of the modern education system. And let's see if our children go through this modern education system, what is the effect of it? Effect of modern education. 6 years, the child thinks that mom knows everything. 8 years, mom knows a lot. 12 years, mom really doesn't know everything. 14 years, the kid thinks that mom knows nothing. 16, mom, what mom? 18, mom is outdated. 25, maybe mom knows. And 35, before deciding, let's ask mom. 45, I wonder what mom thinks. And 75, I wish mom was here to ask. By the time a woman realizes her mother was right, she has a daughter who thinks she is wrong. I mean, this is practically we are seeing in our day-to-day preaching in our own community. I'm sure all of you will subscribe this point. And there's the effect of modern education. Let's see more. Nowadays, people know the price of everything and the value of nothing. again, this is the effect that we see nowadays. Okay. Somebody please turn off the TV, please. We are so busy watching TV and we don't know where are we feeding. Huh? The attitude that you have as a parent is what your kid will learn from more than what you tell them. They don't remember what you try to teach them. They remember what you are. So it is highly important that we need to set some benchmark and standards and facilitate. Otherwise, those Vaikuntha children who were sent by Krishna to our own families, we will offer them to Maya. So what do? A management guru was giving a speech and he was talking about bringing in a change. So then he was asking to everybody in the forum that how many of you believe that we all should definitely bring in a change, and everybody raised their hands. Then he asked the question, how many of you all want to change? And there were hardly anyone who subscribed for it. Hence, if we propose something as ministry or as a team, somewhere we have to constantly think that what do we do to change in our own system and our own projects so that others can also follow us. So we need to begin the change at our own end first. So change is a process and not an event. So this global system, what we are intending to develop or what we are trying to bring out, it may not happen overnight. It may have to be a collective and sequential process to make it a reality. So if you ask me, I would define components of a global system as these 5. This is not, again, comprehensive. We can go on and adding and removing, but I just thought some logical blocks. So we define a process, which we started doing that. We have standards, processes, and procedures as multi-stakeholder community recognizes the shared benefits that will result. So we as a team need to define some set of processes to identify who's who. We need to have a mechanism to review the process of compliance of the process as well as the quality standards. So increased quality, more effective regulatory systems, and periodic review processes by fostering shared values, shared information. And this will help us to evaluate where the projects stand. And tools are an integral part of any system. So, and nowadays information technology based tools are somewhat become need or support our preaching in a much effective way. So I just propose that we need to have at some point in time some tools to help our own preaching initiatives to put them together or keep them together. And communication, which we again took it up yesterday, effective communication channel, either periodicals or Facebook or websites or Wikipedia or whatnot. So we need to have some platform for communicating. And the most important of all the thing I put is as a pathways. The children on our movement, when they join in our own school, if they are defined or we can help them to choose their pathways. We need to have Krishna consciousness alternative for everything is what my interest or my proposal is, where they can do higher education like Radhika spoke. We can create job opportunities for devotees within our movement. We can facilitate marriages. We can facilitate all the aspects of life. So Krishna consciousness does not remain a part of their life, whereas Krishna consciousness become a way of living. So this pathways is something I've been thinking about it and to my limited capacity facilitating for this. And we need to definitely help our devotee children subscribe to our own projects so that we keep the knowledge base within ourselves and don't have brain drain. If you ask me, these are the 3 steps I would roll out or propose to roll out any system per se. We first register. For that, we already spoke about the processes and standards needs to be in place. So before even getting on to the implementation of the process, register every educational initiative, which we have again thought through about this before. So whoever is in the educational projects should register with Ministry of Education. And when they register, they share their purposes, their vision, their goals, their milestones, or whatever they intend to do. And all those registered projects, based on what they declare their aims are, we could review them and see if they fit into the standards that our own team is going to put together. And if they are, recognize them and reward them. And okay, this does not complete the system by itself, but this at least put a team or puts the whole project to a in a solidified manner, so they can be replicated in different places if at least these four are in place. And if you can add tools, you can add pathways, you can add some facilitations. All those things can come later, but at least these four are according to me pretty straightforward and something that we can do it within a limited time span. So I just did a small what we call a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. That would help us in seeing how do we go about it, because we have our own strengths, we have our own weakness and threats too. So if we identify them, at least we will be able to have a better perspective. So according to me, I mean, these are all not, again, comprehensive list, just something that so ministry set up personally by Srila Prabhupada. This is the Ministry of Education is the first ministry that Srila Prabhupada personally set it up. And 4 out of 7 purposes of ISKCON mentions about education, or directly relates to education. We have a well-developed Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava courses for training devotees in our society. In certain places, governments are extending support. We have a government-funded school in New Zealand. We have government support. We heard from Naveen Krishna Prabhu this morning in London. And I think there are other places. We have a charter school in Florida. So I mean, there are possibilities where this education could be extended with government support. Strong foundation of academic and administrative teams in different projects. They may not be in a consolidated manner, but they are all regionally, they are strong to their own selves. And many temples striving to become a teaching center and cultivate strong devotee community. We are seeing this happening both in India as well as overseas, where a lot of communities have taken up Krishna consciousness just not as a project to just preach and chant. They are extending them to a lifestyle support, and from marriage facilitation to education facilitation to somehow like this community we have in Houston, we have in ISV, I'm sure Dallas, other places where it's just not coming to the temple and doing arati, it's beyond that. Growing interest amongst ISKCON leaders and congregation members to set up educational initiatives. This is definitely a big positive, because in the last 5 years, I'm sure, like Naveen Krishna Prabhu was saying this morning as well, a lot of people who are seeing the need to set up educational institutions to help their own community members. And this is a pretty important thing to recognize, and we need to facilitate that. And various educational initiatives amongst are very successful. I mean, some of them are very, in the government schools in UK, Avanti schools are very well recognized, and even our own schools are getting accreditation and getting to a good standard. So it's a very big positive that we can take it from there. But we do have some weaknesses. I didn't elaborate on all the list of weaknesses, but at least we have a lack of fixed team to work on, because we have our own individual projects or activities that we are busy with. So we don't have a fixed team under the ministry working full-time on this, but that's needed, but it's not happening, it's not there in place now. We have also a lack of continuity. I think those of you who have been in this conference in the last 3 years know that there are certain initiatives we spoke about, but we couldn't follow it upon, and it is definitely a concern. And lack of funds, sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times we are challenged because of this. accessibility, availability of needed resources, and at times we see there are projects which are very much restricted to their own region, and they don't extend it beyond their region, so they don't have a broader vision, so they may need some motivation or some push or some facilitation so that they can be taken beyond their zone. In terms of opportunities, we have second, third generation devotees in the movement coming up. We have potential to reach world community through preaching what Radhika said and what various other devotees have been doing. The unlimited potential is there. And Krishna consciousness professionals are needed for various projects. So for our own schools, for our own colleges, for our own temples. If in India already temples started paying to people to employ them for their jobs, so why not we employ devotees and take care of them. Individuals to provide resources and services to ISKCON, like what Anantrupa Prabhu was saying. There are a lot of people who are in the verge of retiring, and they come with a lot of experience out from the outside world, so their contribution could be a very, very big positive for the society. And some threats. This is something we have to take a deep look at it. Material advancement versus our lack of educational initiatives for the children in our movement will become a threat to lose our devotee children to materialistic lifestyle, and their opportunities to contribute back to our movement will get lost, because it's, as I said, it's a brain drain. So these are all wonderful children. We need to somehow retain them within the movement. Sometimes government policies and inconsistencies, like in Russia, there is a big challenge even to even to preach. So I'm sure there are a lot of devotees who are trying to save their best to preach there, but those of you who know Russian situation, and there are other places where governments are putting some challenges, so that is something as a threat I identified. Degradation and dilution of Varnashrama system and the next generation. I think Grahastha Vision team would better know. There are a lot of devotees who are facing marriage challenges, and keeping the marriage together is becoming a challenge, so that percolates down to the family, to the community, to the society, and subsequently it has a effect. Secularization of ISKCON education. Many times our own educational institutions are pushing hard not to be explicitly talking about Krishna, because I think government will oppose, or parents don't agree, or I need to have a better acceptability. So we fear to present Krishna consciousness. We are not trying to be fanatics here, but at least what's wrong in presenting Krishna when we all subscribe to. So we set up educational institution where we can talk about Krishna explicitly, help them, and it's needed to be specific in some situations, and this will help the devotee children to use the education to become nice devotees. And more independent initiatives on education will collapse the broader agenda, and collaboration will be a challenge. So if every initiatives are starting to think regionally and locally and does not try to extend themselves to others, then probably we will all be on our own and never be able to build a global system. So it's a threat. Okay, what approach we propose? Please try not to reinvent the wheel. I mean, nobody is stopping you to invent, but we have jewels in our own backyard. Plenty of resources have been built over the years. I mean, I'm sure I myself have access to a lot of resources, and I'm sure each of the schools have. Everybody is actually putting efforts to build resources, and sometimes I get to hear people doing the same work which others would have already done, and it's not wrong in doing it again, but then if you have time and energy and money, why not do something else where there are projects which needs resources? So I think somewhere or other, if we could consolidate the resources and help people cross-reference them, that will save time and money. Networking with various ISKCON affiliates, devotee businesses, or favorable businesses. Set up educational institutions worldwide which could be managed by interested congregation and community members. This is something I spoke long time back to Bhaktirupa Prabhu, where somehow in India we are seeing that ISKCON has started schools, and sometimes starting to realize that did we make a mistake by starting a school, because we have so many problems. If you go to some of the leaders, they are so much afraid to even think about setting up a school. They say it's such a big liability. So why not we try to enable congregation devotees? Why not we enable those who want to maintain their grihasthashram, give them these projects, enable them, support them, so that they have their own personal Krishna conscious life, grihastha life maintained, as well as the project can also be nicely managed. So grihasthas could be encouraged for that. Endorse and recognize existing projects, so that way they get to come in the limelight and help others. Conduct awareness programs through the conferences. So what we are currently doing is to let people know who is who and what are they up to. And I propose that we should have a carrier cell where every devotee businesses or devotee projects should consolidate their needs, and we should have a common place where, hey, I need so and so people, and like how we have in the corporate world job portals where employers and employee, they are connected. So there are ways by which we can help our own devotee pool to stay within the society. Okay, I'm just giving an example of partnering, because we have been speaking about various initiatives, and I was just listing different verticals of education and saw that there are already initiatives happening in that area. This is just the tip of an iceberg. There are a lot of more that we could build it. We don't have a comprehensive list handy right now. But I think if you see pre-marriage counseling, I'm talking from pre-marriage counseling to marriage to preschool to higher education to Shastric education. For all these initiatives, we have somebody or the other who are already doing something there. So why don't we, this is something that is to begin with, we can directly liaise with them and take it up from there instead of redoing. Because I know the devotees in Middle East, they are also working on some projects and rewriting some curriculum. Somebody is working on a university project in some other parts of the world. Somebody is working on a Sunday school curriculum, 3 different places. So Pune, when I met devotees there, they are also writing some lot of resources, and they've also expressed, why don't you guys let us know what is happening, so that we don't do what others are doing and we do something else. So I was just thinking that at least we can facilitate and make everybody aware such and such initiatives are available, provided they all go through the process that we said. They are registered, they are reviewed, they are recognized for the ministry, so it becomes easier that you can, these guys are not known, they are no nonsense people, and you can liaise with them. So like Grihastha Vision Team and Avanti Schools, we have higher education, Radhika Raman Prabhu, Bhaktivedanta College. So there are plenty of partners. All of them, somewhere or other, they spoke in this conference, and I think it's better to make them known to everybody and facilitate for the collaboration. So how do you go about what are the next steps? So take firm and baby steps, like 1 step at a time or 2 steps at a time. And like what we did yesterday, some groups started working on standards, some groups started working on communication. At least that takes care of 2 important parts of my proposed system, the components of the system. So at least we can start registering the initiatives. We can start reviewing them when the standards are approved, and we can kind of recognize them. So that way, taking some baby steps would help us move towards our larger dreams. Set up a working team for each of these stages. When I mean stages, I mean the process, quality, review, tools, the pathways, and rewards and recognition. Review the progress periodically through these conferences or independent breakout conference calls or group conference calls. And whatever little results that we accomplished, we can kind of roll it out and let yatras implement them, and we can take feedback from that to improve upon based on the feedback. So that way, whatever little initiative that we have taken, we will be able to fructify them and see the results of it. And identify partners. We have some listed of partners, but there may be others. So we can give an opportunity for the devotees to choose whom to associate with, whom to take some help from, and we can facilitate that. And our realization is that many times we hear from the leaders or devotees that education is a liability and it's a threat. We have a problem. We have so many episodes happen in the past, but it's actually an opportunity. And what you see as success sometimes, we need to understand from what perspective we see success. And I show that success is not always what you see. And we as devotees, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we completely understand that how do we internalize and still, like somebody said, I think Radhika Raman Prabhu or somebody said, that bring out the devotees as a very successful person in the outside world. Devotees need not look like some losers always. So they can definitely, we have all the components in place to be very successful. These children are the future hope of our society, so it is imperative, it's important that we do something there. Better late than never, but at least by doing so, at least for sure, these children, when they grow up, they will definitely be thankful, and I think we would have done something useful to bring in a smile in Prabhupada's face. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions or comments, we can. Maharaj.
There's the Ministry of Education, which is incorporated in California, but it's doing business in Florida, right? Huh? Okay, there's a nonprofit corporation which exists and that. Then also when we started the preschool in Texas, we had all the devotees came, and Irma and everybody else. There was a lot of work on the thing. So the preschool was started in Texas. Then also the primary school was started. Gokul Kids, Goloka Education, and also the third one we started was the Goloka Foundation. And the idea for that was to create an entity which could then act as an umbrella corporation for all these different things like that, a nonprofit corporation where we could all work together. That's come to the point where it's actually incorporated, but we're waiting because we haven't got the wherewithal to run it yet. We can barely run NEOS. But when it gets going, for example, right now, NEOS has been approached by the Metasoft Foundation, which helps nonprofit corporations get money. They approached us because they judge these guys are ready. So we've invested $5,000 with them, and they guarantee unless you get $5,000 in grants within 6 months following our process, we'll give your money back. You know? So all the primary schools here, everybody else could get together and describe one package and then start going out and applying for $1 million or something like that. Because individually it might be difficult, but coming together under one organization, showing our structure, and then say, oh, okay, we'll find you then, see the results. So that's one thing that's happening. Then with the Goloka Foundation, the idea was that is supposed to be like an umbrella corporation for educational initiatives where everybody can work together like that. And it's supposed to come to the level of Paramatma, not discuss necessarily religion. Okay, that'll be carried on like in your own individual group. So Muslims and everybody else, we could all come together. We all believe in the Paramatma and so on. So the Goloka Foundation is one element for creating a global network.
Thank you, Maharaj. I did want to take a second to, or more than a second, to thank Ram Giridhari Prabhu for putting these conferences on and doing all the thankless service that comes with organizing it all, even though he's very busy and literally across the world. So if we can please just give him a big round of applause and a big Haribol. And now we will have His Grace Jagat Guru Prabhu, who is here from South America, showing us education in ISKCON, education with ISKCON in the Western Hemisphere.
He and his brother come from a farm community. Their uncles, everybody else, they are farmers, growing all this kind of stuff. His brother started off producing honey, and with one kid, and then he started taking other people's honey with the second kid. The third kid he had butter, and the fourth kid he had bread. And they decided to stop having kids after that. So on. So very, farming. Okay. Then he also he was when you were at university and was what's it called, apprentice with CNN in the country, and then been to India twice on scholarships and fellowships, working like that. He was also the assistant to the director of communications, roughly speaking, for the Mining Association in Chile, which is one of the most powerful like that. So he has a tremendous amount of actual practical experience and stuff. And I'm just thinking maybe he might even be able to work on the on our periodical, on our journal and bulletin, because yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I can have more minutes. So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here, actually. It's a pleasure for me. But actually, I am here on behalf of a community of devotees, not just for me. I am social communicator. But I'm social communicator in Spanish. So it's important to put clear first this. So the next presentation is about the different projects on education in South America. Okay, I'm here because I manage with a very good team inspired by His Holiness Hanuman Prachak Maharaj, the first and the second Congress, Latin American Congress on Education with ISKCON. So we were there like, let me see, 100 devotees, 150 the last time, register and pay also. This is a very good, very special in South America. So this is the idea. I will introduce you some of the leaders of these different projects. This is the main object of this program. I introduce myself. Maharaj already helped with that. I am a professional journalist. I study in the Universidad de Santiago, University of Santiago of Chile. And I get this diploma on academic degree of social communicator, and at the same time they give a diploma, a paper that said you have a profession. But the professional is when you're actually doing something. But still the paper said I'm journalist. And from that I could enter the CNN in the economy field. It's a very boring thing. But so they asked me to stay a little more. And after a while said, okay, it's enough. It's not the rhythm. And my service now in the ISKCON is mainly in the communication. And now the devotees from the education ask me already enter to this team, their team. So the presentation definitely is not open. Is it okay, Prabhu? It's charging? Okay. It's a video at 700 megabytes video about there. So maybe maybe that's the reason. I suggest to keep on my computer, but. And now I'm director of collaboration in an organization called IF. IF means Ideas Factory. It's a collaborative platform for entrepreneurship and innovation. So I'm in charge of the community there, 147 different organizations from big universities, but also little entrepreneurs. So it's very interesting because a lot of variety there, and in our ISKCON community it happens the same thing. People from different backgrounds. It's definitely not open. And so I will start already. So in the next part I will pass fast. So just in case, South America is in the south part of this big continent. Just in case, we are all educators here, so I already know, but put in general words. And we are 33 different countries. Yes, Mexico is part of Latin American because of the language, it's Portuguese and Spanish, and Caribbean also. 33 different countries, everyone with a little flag like this. And say I'm here, but a lot of nationalism there. And we are the biggest, excuse me my grammar and my pronunciation in
Goodbye.
English, by the way. And the biggest countries are Argentina, Mexico, and Brazil. So one of my conclusions is, interestingly, our most powerful educational projects are coming from there. It's interesting because it's, the population, a lot of different factors influence in that. So one of them, I will introduce you 2 programs in Mexico, one program, main program in educational field in Brazil, and the third one in Argentina. I will introduce you also other 2 programs in Peru, very powerful. The document that I received from them was very critical and very inspiring at the same time. And the other programs from Chile, so the last country. Actually, I came from there. and oh, still is not there.
So we're thinking,
No. It's not just a movie. It's different parts. A movie is from Aravinda Prabhu. They
but
asked
the
me.
whole thing needs to take some time to download?
Yes, the video is not an important thing actually. Yes.
The whole thing is the 1.5 gigs. So if it takes time to load, perhaps we
No, not super files. All
break for
everything
lunch.
the same
so
file.
in-
It's like very
during
powerful
lunchtime they
PPT.
can
I know Mac, Windows. See, my presentation is supposed to have 10 minutes, so
Well,
we're
what if
already
we do
7
this
minutes.
After lunch, we do lunch now and after lunch.
Maybe you all can break for lunch now and schedule his presentation immediately after lunch. In the meanwhile, the setup can be done.
If you're hungry, it's perfect.
I mean, we are trying to adjust along with the technologies snag. So, is that okay? I think that's all. Then break for lunch.
All right, Hare Krishna. So we'll break for lunch. What time are we meeting back? 3:30?
Yeah, we are meeting at 3:30. Yeah. Oh, Namavrita Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Namavrita Prabhu is there? Can I have him here? Hare Krishna, yesterday we agreed that there'll be 2 batches of devotees. One will go this afternoon, sacrifice whatever rest time, and just go and come because they are leaving tomorrow. And another batch of devotees showed interest in going to the farm tomorrow morning. So who are all there, want to go this afternoon to farm? So 1, 2, anybody else? I'm sorry? No? Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow morning will be, we will leave around 8 o'clock or something like that, maybe 8:30 or something like that. So, but going and coming will be, yeah, maybe after breakfast, you're right. So, 8. Yeah, tomorrow morning. 11:30 will be back here, so if that's fine with you, you can go tomorrow. But I think those who are catching a flight, don't keep agenda next to that, because what if we are late in the farm? What if on the way we have traffic? Yeah, so whoever has a flight to catch tomorrow afternoon, and if you still want to go to the farm, please go now. I mean, if somebody has, some of you have seen the farm, I think you have 2 hours to take rest now. And yeah, so you have time. 2 o'clock. You have to leave from here at 2, right? I think you have time. You can go tomorrow. Yeah, right after the breakfast. Now? 3:30. Yeah. So we meet up. Yeah. Lunch. Sorry? Yeah, but it's okay. To get everybody back, we'll take another 5-7 minutes. No, that's okay. You let it be ready for the afternoon session. Oh my God. So let's all please meet back at 3:30 to have our afternoon session effective. No, we are breaking as per the scheduled time because we lost this, so we are good there.